leading the nation in school communications. Award-winning D93 News starts now.
Hello and welcome to D93 News, presented by Farm Bureau, Bonneville County. We are coming to you from the Mountain Valley Library, where a major change was announced during the special meeting of the Board of Trustees that was just held right here. Sam, you wear a lot of hats for the district, including that of board clerk. Tell us about that vacancy that was declared today.
Well, Greg Calder submitted his letter of resignation prior to today's special meeting, and Greg served on the board for nearly 8 years. The vacancy leaves the spot open in Zone 1, and an online application on the district webpage will be available for those interested in being appointed to the board. The deadline to express your interest is April 24th at noon. The board plans to appoint someone at the regular board meeting in May.
Well, an inspirational guest speaker spoke to Mr. Morris's classes at Rocky Mountain Middle School. Matt Pond is a substitute teacher in our district. He fought terminal brain cancer and he won. He then had to relearn how to read and write and do other basic skills. He went on to get his degree, and he's a frequent TEDx speaker.
It was an awesome opportunity to be here and to not only walk down the same halls that I used to walk down, but then to talk with a whole new generation of kids with the struggles that they have in life, and hopefully to help them.
So the board made it official during their March board meeting, and in a unanimous vote, they decided to give the public a chance to vote on a bond project that would provide significant relief for the district.
The election is on May 16th. Now joining us is Superintendent Wolstenhume. Before we get started, it's important to point out that while we have an obligation and a responsibility to inform, we as a district cannot advocate for or against bonds. Now, Superintendent Wolstenhume, give us a summary of this bond.
Sure. So it's a $34.5 million bond proposal. The main focus is building an elementary school, and the cost for our taxpayers will be about an additional $38 per $100,000 each year of taxable value.
So let's talk about the timing. We've kicked this down the road a little bit.
We have. We originally, if you remember, we've actually bonded for this elementary school twice over the past 10 years. The first time was in 2014 when it was part of a bond to build a middle school and a high school. That bond was not approved by our voters, and so from there we phased that approach, and we bonded for and built Thunder Ridge High School, Black Canyon Middle School. We actually bonded for the elementary school again in 2019. As part of an expansion to Hillcrest and Bonneville High Schools. That also is not approved by our voters, so now we're just running it by itself. So this has been an ongoing need. It's something we've seen for a long time. Fortunately, over the past few years with the pandemic, we saw a little bit of a flattening of our growth, but over the last 2 years, that growth has come right back to our district, and we really have to look at this as our next best option to house students.
And not only is it just a school that's on the bond, other things as well.
Yeah, really just one other line item. And so that's a significant difference from how our bonds looked back in the early part of the 2000s. We used to have a lot of kind of catch-all language like safety improvements, school improvements, technology improvements, all good things. But over the past few years, we've really gotten much tighter in our bond language. So right now, the only other item that's included is money for roofs. And we do have aging buildings in our district. Roofs are a very significant expense. Our current plant facility budget just isn't enough to provide for those repairs and renovations. And so we do have somewhere between $1 and about $2.5 million that would be set aside toward roofs.
So again, that election is on May 16th. Scott, you're going to like this story right here.
Well, the effort to adopt a state dinosaur received a shot in the arm as students from around the state recently testified in favor of this project that started at Yukon Elementary School.
I realize that there is more to legislation than just grown-up stuff, and it is important to teach our kids about legislation.
You know, we spend a lot of time talking about grown-up stuff at the State House, even if it is grown-ups talking about kid stuff like libraries, bathrooms, and gender-affirming care. But Senator Kevin Cook, right there from Idaho Falls, is right. It's time to focus on the stuff actually important to kids, like what was happening today at the House State Affairs Committee. They were hearing testimony on Senate Bill 1127, sponsored by Senator Cook, and the one which would give Idaho a new state symbol, a state dinosaur. So let's take a look at fourth graders learning about the legislative process and acting like adults.
All right, we'll give you 2 minutes today for testimony. Thank you, Chairman and members of the committee. My name is Harper Lehman, and I live in Meridian, Idaho. I'm a fourth grader at Montessori Academy, and I am here today in support of Senate Bill 1127.
Good morning. My name is Ephraim Dunn. I represent the fourth grade class at Yukon Elementary School in Yukon, Idaho.
My name is Jed Wheeler. I'm a fourth grader at Rimrock Elementary in District 35. I am here to testify on behalf of Senate Bill 1127. My name is Elliot Bybee, and I go to Lowell Elementary.
My name is Levi Hurley, and I'm a fifth-generation Idahoan. I live in District 32 and attend Edgemont Gardens Elementary School in Idaho Falls, Idaho.
I'm proud to stand with so many awesome fourth graders around the state who are lobbying to get a new state symbol, a state dinosaur. Fourth grade is when we learn Idaho history. I love studying Idaho history, and it makes me proud to live in Idaho. We get to learn about Lewis and Clark's expedition with Sacagawea, and the state flag. I look forward to learning about Idaho's state bird, state flower, and state gem. Some of my favorites are the syringa and the monarch butterfly. We live in a really cool place, but we have room to improve our state symbols by adding a state dinosaur. I think it's amazing that scientists are still discovering new dinosaurs right here in Idaho. I live in Bonneville County, which is where the dinosaur Eryctodromeus was discovered. Eryctodromeus lived in Idaho 95 million years ago. The Eryctodromeus would be the best dinosaur to represent our state for 3 reasons.
1. Idaho is the only state where a complete skeleton of the Eryctodromeus has been found. That is cool.
Of all the dinosaurs we have found, Eryctodromeus is the only proven dinosaur to burrow for safety and for raising its young.
2. Eryctodromeus was a good mother and took care of its children. Families are very important to Idahoans.
3. Eryctodromeus was small for a dinosaur and very fast.
It was a kind of a small dinosaur, only 11 feet long and weighing about 70 pounds. 3. Eryctodromeus worked hard to keep itself and family safe, again, just like Idahoans. Because the Eryctodromeus was discovered here and had family values like ours, I believe it is a perfect fit to be Idaho's first state dinosaur. Please vote yes on Senate Bill 1127 and send this to the House floor with a due pass recommendation. The new symbol is good for fourth graders and good for Idaho. Thank you, and I'll stand for questions.
Thank you. Are there questions? Any further discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. The motion is carried. It will be done.
But you know, if there were questions, I bet you those kids would have all the answers that they'd be asked. You know, they were ready. They had all the information. Joe Walton, the teacher from Yukon Elementary in eastern Idaho, whose fourth grade class came up with the idea for a state dinosaur, he was thrilled today to see such overwhelming support for their bill. Kids from Idaho Falls to Rimrock to Meridian all testifying today in favor of a new state symbol. The idea for a new state symbol now headed to the House, where a majority vote will send it to the governor for his signature. Senate Bill 1127 passed the Senate, by the way, unanimously last week, so no pressure, House members.
That's awesome what they're doing there, and I love seeing the kids from around the state showing support for Yukon. Let's talk about the bond resolution on May 16th. We're going to meet with the board on the day of on the April board meeting to talk about the communication plan. But we do have some things in place already. Of course, our D93 Lives, we're going to have, that'll be your chance to ask questions about the bond. And there's one that just happened to be right before the election day on May 16th. So we're going to get the information out. A big way to get that is through the family newsletter.
That's right. Family newsletter is sent around 6 p.m. on Thursdays. If you're not receiving that letter, please let me know and I can get you hooked up with that, because it is very informational, great information and positive stories that are happening in our district.
Yep. Well, that's going to do it for us.
We'll see you next time on D93 News.